Hi, I'm Bob Cook, and I'm the president of BridgeLink, and it's my honor to lead off this exciting news conference. We have so many elected officials and government officials. Can all of them just kind of hold up their hand? Let's thank them for joining us here. Also, I want to thank Christine Nellis and Nick Schnell, the people here at Ellis Park, their staff, for the hospitality and hosting this event this afternoon. Let's give them a little thank you. BridgeLink was formed back in 2013. It's a joint venture between the Southwest Indiana Chamber of Commerce and Kindle. And the purpose was to advocate for a new I-69 bridge between Henderson. You see that hole that's existing between those two lines. It was to fill up that hole. And so BridgeLink has 20 members, have 11 from Indiana and 9 from Kentucky. Could all the BridgeLink board members hold up their hand? Let's thank them for their work. Yeah. And I'd also like to recognize Dr. Logan, who was the first president of BridgeLink. Dr. Logan, I saw you here. There he is back there. We saw the fantastic opportunity that I-69 will bring to the people of Southwest Indiana and Kentucky when it's completed. It'll truly be a continental highway connecting all the way from Canada through the U.S. into Mexico and probably all the way into Central America. When BridgeLink started in 2013, there was a cost estimate for the I-69 bridge project, $1.4 billion, and no way to pay for it. We looked at the design very closely. We saw it included 6 lanes, mind you, 6 lanes, had 9.2 miles of approaches and 5 interchanges. BridgeLink did a value engineer on the project and refigured the project as a 4-lane bridge. The 6 lanes would have been the only 6 lanes on I-69 anywhere in Indiana or Kentucky. So we went to 4 lanes, 6.2 miles of approaches and 3 interchanges, and the new design cost comes to about $850 million, a 40% reduction. We had a hunch that the $850 million could be paid for with modest tolls over 30 years. Mayor Austin arranged for a traffic count on the 41 bridges, and when we got the results, we even felt more comfortable about that. And then INDOT did a engagement with Cambridge Systematics and did a transportation study that forecasted the traffic count for the next 30 years. And it became certain then, with modest tolls on the new I-69 bridge, it would more than pay for itself in 30 years while keeping at least one Highway 41 bridge free for local cars. We took the findings to Governor Pence and Governor Bevin. They listened. We discussed our plan with the legislators from Kentucky and Indiana. We met with the Department of Transportation, Indiana Department of Transportation, and the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. And that brings us to today. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to the Executive Judge of Henderson County, the Honorable Brad Snyder. Brad?
Thank you, Bob. On behalf of the citizens of Henderson County, I welcome you here today. It's a quirk of nature that we're all sitting and standing north of the Ohio, but we are in Henderson County, Kentucky. Yes, we are. And an early 19th century earthquake changed the course of the river, and we're in a little sliver of Kentucky that was left. So I think it's appropriate we've gathered at this very spot for what I believe is another seismic shift, sorry for that pun, in the history of our region, and that is progress on the I-69 bridge. Thank you, Governor Pence. I really appreciate that. Yeah. I'll take that where I can get it, but trust me. I'd like to welcome the governors here today. They are the latest caretakers in a dream that is more than a half-century old, completing Southwest Indiana and Western Kentucky's portion of I-69. And it's truly exciting and gratifying to see how enthusiastically they have taken up the mantle and helped us drive this project forward. In addition to BridgeLink, it's hard to measure the impact advocacy groups on both sides of the river have had in getting us to this day. Community leaders, elected officials, economic development agencies, many of whom are here with us today, and chambers of commerce banded together in organizations such as Hoosier Voices for I-69, Chamber Leadership Initiatives for Northwest Kentucky, the West Kentucky Regional Chamber Alliance. And they've spent the last decade or more encouraging and cajoling the governments in Indianapolis, Frankfort, and Washington, D.C. to move forward with I-69 and help us realize the amazing economic development potential the interstate offers us all. It has truly been a team effort, and that team will keep pushing until we cut the ribbon on a new bridge and the road is complete from Indy to Fulton, Kentucky, ladies and gentlemen. It's important to remember, and it's been said before, it's important to remember that I-69 is not just a local project. As Bob said, we're part of an 8-state corridor that stretches from Port Huron, Michigan to Brownsville, Texas. I-69 connects us to new markets, new opportunities. It literally connects us to the rest of the nation and the world. And with all the advantages we have in southwestern Indiana and western Kentucky, including river, road, rail, airports, land, great people, cheap power, amazing communities, perfect geographic location, we think I-69 will help the nation and the world rediscover us and beat a path to our doors. This is truly a momentous day, but only one of many to come. Trust me. I predict both governors will make a habit of coming back to Evansville and Henderson for announcements related to I-69 for years to come and help us celebrate the realization of the I-69 dream. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to introduce one of those elected officials who have been so supportive of the I-69 effort, BridgeLink board member and Henderson Mayor, the Honorable Steve Austin.
Thank you, Brad. And Brad, thank you for your contribution. Brad, before he was county judge, was the chairman and the president and the CEO, or whatever the terms would be, of our Kendall organization, which was our economic development and our chamber. And Brad was on board early and often, and he was a big pusher, and a lot of where we are right now, we can thank Brad Snyder for that. Thank you for being here. This is, we've got a standing room only crowd here, and that just shows some of the interest that there is in this project. And it's a great project. It's a great project for Southern Indiana. It's a great project for Northwestern Kentucky. I just want you to visualize in your mind just a minute that route that Brad was speaking of a while ago. Take just vision in your mind a map of the United States. Start up in the Great Lakes at the Canadian border, follow that all the way down through Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee, on down the line, and end up at the Gulf Shore in Texas. And then think in your mind where the almost exact center of that location is. And I'm going to tell you, it is right here where we're standing today. And how important is that, with all of these companies and all of these organizations doing the on-time shipping, the on-time inventories? We will be in less than one day, an 8 to 10 hour truck drive or transportation drive to 65% of the population in this country, and 70% of the manufacturers, warehouses, and major businesses in this country when I-69 is complete. I think when we really get started on it is when it gets to Memphis and gets to Indianapolis. That's going to be the start of something good. And for that to happen, it needs to be a direct route and linked all the way through. It's a great day in Henderson, Evansville, and I want to introduce to you another member of our BridgeLink board and a great partner to work with, Evansville Mayor Lloyd Winnecke.
Thanks, Steve. Wow, what a day. I tell you what, as we celebrate so many of our successes in Evansville, I encourage people frequently to take pictures because we are changing the skyline of downtown, and I will offer you the same advice today. Start to take pictures of this landscape, because very near here, because of the collaboration between our states and our cities, will change the landscape of this area very, very dramatically. It's my pleasure to represent the city of Evansville and join our friends from the city of Henderson and our region and our two states to celebrate a transportation milestone that I suspect many of us thought may never occur. Many of us are enjoying Indiana's investment on Interstate 69 to the north. The convenience factor is just incredible. Now, as an aside, I will tell you our friends from Kentucky may not appreciate this, but it's so much faster and easier to get to Assembly Hall from Evansville in Bloomington than it ever used to. And certainly the drive time to Indianapolis, the State House, is much faster too. But we also know that I-69 to the north is good for business. Companies across our region are transporting raw materials and finished products far more efficiently. But today's news confirms that Interstate 69 cannot reach its maximum potential without a southern connection. And for that, we are truly grateful for the Commonwealth's shared vision and investment. On October 14th, 2013, many of us stood very near here to talk about the formation of BridgeLink. We laid out a specific, aggressive timeline, and some people question why we were so aggressive in setting those dates. But we felt that it was important to keep it on everyone's radar, so that's why we laid out specific timelines. And today, it's clear that both Governor Bevin and Governor Pence are making this project a top priority. Governor Bevin, sir, you mentioned the importance of this project in your very first State of the Commonwealth speech right after you took office. That sent a powerful message to this region. Governor Pence, you and I have had countless conversations about the importance of this project, and I know that many, many others have bent your ear on this. We appreciate you listening and recognizing the importance of this project, not just for our region, but for our two states. So thank you very, very much. The city of Evansville remains committed to keep this project on track. We look forward to continuing partnerships with the city of Henderson and the two states. And it's my pleasure now to introduce another great advocate of the I-69 Bridge project, a person whose voice on Capitol Hill as a member of the House Transportation Committee carries a lot of weight, Congressman Larry Bucshon.
Well, thank you, Mayor, and it's a great day to be here. Today is really a culmination of hard work of many, many people. Many of you here have been part of that process. But I'd like to thank Governor Pence and Governor Bevin, Mayor Winnecke and Mayor Austin, the people at BridgeLink, and everyone else who worked tirelessly to make this first step possible. It has been a long time coming, starting back in the 1960s, literally. In Indiana, the I-69 is a tremendous economic asset that helps move our products and people more efficiently and effectively. And a bridge linking it to Kentucky is even more important to continue that process. But currently, countless Hoosiers do travel I-69 every day, and it is true you can get to Bloomington more quickly, because I travel there, and I'll be on the highway today to Indianapolis. But you know, along the way, it's already supporting thousands of jobs and economic activity. We're all here today because we know the I-69 bridge between Evansville and Henderson is the next step to enhance the regional mobility and safety of the traveling public. But this project is not just significant here regionally. It's more than a link between two states. Rather, it's a critical part of our nation's multimodal freight transportation. That's why I've been an advocate for this project, both locally and nationally. During my 4 years on the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee in Congress, I worked hard to make sure Indiana received a larger share of federal transportation dollars to help our state fund this project and many others. I also helped launch the I-69 caucus with Kentucky Congressman Ed Whitfield and some of our colleagues from Texas and Tennessee. Our mission is pretty simple. We educate our colleagues from across the country on the importance of the I-69 corridor and advocate for its completion as we move forward with transportation planning at the federal level. Through my work on the Transportation Committee and the I-69 caucus, I've worked closely with BridgeLink here locally to advocate for the I-69 bridge to be included federally as a project of regional or national significance, as well as part of the National Freight Corridor Network and Corridor. I can't express, though, how critically important it is to have two governors who recognize the incredible opportunity this project presents to our area, our state, and our country. And Southwest Indiana is extremely fortunate to have Governor Pence as our governor of Indiana leading the way. So with that, I'd like to introduce my friend, the 50th governor of the state of Indiana, Mike Pence.
Thank you. Great job. Great job. Super duper. Thank you, Congressman Bucshon. Thank you all. To my friend Governor Bevin, to Congressman Bucshon, to Mayor Winnecke, to Mayor Austin, to Judge Schneider, to my friend Bob Cook, whose efforts on BridgeLink, bringing together people across the divide of the mighty Ohio and across this region, to my Lieutenant Governor. I even brought the head of the Indiana Department of Transportation so she can start mapping this thing out today. Randy Hendrickson. Thank you all for being here, members of the General Assembly, honored guests. This is a great, great day for two great states in the greatest nation on earth. Today, I look forward to sitting down at this signing table with my colleague from the Commonwealth and signing a memorandum of understanding announcing that effective today, we will initiate both the study and design of a new bridge for I-69 over the mighty Ohio River. It is a humbling thing to be in the position that I'm in today. Those of us in public service, be they mayors or county executives or congressmen or governors, know that we stand on the shoulders of those who went before. I cannot help but think on a day like today, literally within eyeshot of that great river, and having received a pass to be in Kentucky for a few short hours today, we think of two entire generations of Hoosiers and Kentuckians who worked to see this day happen. And today we stand here and we celebrate what all of you have accomplished. But let me say to those who have gone before, names like Jim Newland and others, people who were champions of a vision of an I-69 that would bring vibrant growth to both of our states. From wherever you are looking on, we congratulate you today as well. We are truly partnering for a brighter future for Indiana and for Kentucky. And I truly do believe that roads mean jobs. And bridges mean jobs too. It will be our aim, and I'm grateful in the course of our agreement that our team at the Indiana Department of Transportation has been tasked to take the lead in developing this project with the full partnership of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We will, our focus will be on swiftly completing the environmental work and the project design work. We do expect to have a request for proposals out within a matter of months and to be beginning to examine and, more importantly, to engage in a public dialogue about the best means and the best place to put this all-important new element of our infrastructure. We will make a contribution, I believe, men and women, from both of our states to safety and to commerce. We will build a structure that will contribute to the safe passage of people not just who are in this region, but people passing through this region. We will also, I'm pleased to say, the state of Indiana will continue to move forward with our side to work and improve the old Highway 41 bridge and ensure that it remains a vital part of the infrastructure of this region. But I truly do believe that this investment, first brought to my attention in the early days of our administration by my very subtle friend Larry Bouchon, Mayor Winnecke, Bob Cook, and others. I truly do believe that this is the missing link. We're proud in Indiana, Governor, that it would be in the last decade that we found a way through creative resources to bring to fruition something that was simply a dream for generations of Hoosiers, that we would connect our capital city to the great Southwest Indiana. And now we are within eyeshot, I can tell you, of finishing I-69 all the way from Evansville to Indianapolis, and we'll get it done. Kentucky has made its investments. Kentucky has made its investments in infrastructure, but this one we had to do together. And we're going to make a connection in this new Indiana-Kentucky bridge, this extraordinary new expanse that we will call the Ohio River Crossing during the working phase. I do believe that we're going to create an artery of growth and opportunity that will create in the incentive for investment and quality of life that will ensure that this region of both of our states continue to experience the full potential of the growth that is our due. And with that, let me close. I know he speaks after me, which is, having heard him speak before, is what I require. Governor Matt Bevin and I became acquainted just in the last few years. But he's someone I feel like I've known for years. He's a man of principle. He is a leader. And let me just say from across the river, I have really grown to admire the energy and the principle and the integrity with which he has stepped up as governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And this is a great example. Governor Bevin, I found very, very early on, has a bias for action, just like I do. I brought this idea to him and he said, talk to me about it. Like me, he's a fiscal conservative. So we talked about how this area had sharpened their pencils, 1.4 down to 40% reduction already. And but I must tell you, I was struck looking on from the north when this governor stepped up in his very first State of the Commonwealth address and told the people of Kentucky that we needed to build a bridge for Henderson and Indiana and Kentucky. And I want to thank you publicly for making it a priority. Your leadership, Governor Bevin, has been instrumental in us moving so quickly to this point, so early in your administration. And I pledge to you, the state of Indiana will continue to work earnestly and in full partnership. But we're used to doing that. I'll tell you, we're building a couple of bridges down in Kentucky. Even before you took office, you were there when we cut the ribbon on that Abraham Lincoln Bridge, right coming out of Louisville. And we're going to finish our bridge, the East End Bridge, a little bit east of Louisville, ahead of schedule and under budget before we even get to the holiday season this year. So Indiana and Kentucky know how to work together. We don't agree on everything. The governor invited me to the Kentucky Derby this year. I told him in May we have a different idea about horsepower. Some of you will get that later. And certainly during basketball season, we have a hard time agreeing on much, except the importance of basketball. But on this, we've demonstrated the ability to agree when it comes to creating the kind of investments that support growth and opportunity for this generation and the next. Today is one more example of how the people of Indiana and the people of Kentucky are truly partnering for a brighter future for all of our citizens. And Governor, I'm truly grateful. Governor Matt Bevin, everybody.
Wow. Outstanding. Thank you so much. What a tremendous group of people. Thank you, first of all, thank you for coming out. I mean, really, it was easier to do this than 2 or 3 days ago. We got to admit that. It's gotten a little cooler. But wherever you came from, you were somewhere that you were gainfully engaged doing something else, and yet you've taken time to come here and celebrate this with us, so thank you for that. It means a lot to us, but it also, I hope, encourages you to see how much this means to everybody else involved. One of the things that's dangerous is it's both good and bad that I don't write stuff out, so I just kind of speak extemporaneously. And I've been given a lot of credit for this budget speech that I gave. I actually meant to mention Harrison County, and it popped out as Henderson, and then I was sort of stuck with it, and no, I'm just kidding. I'm really kidding. I did not, in all seriousness, from the moment I heard about this project, I have one of those little, how many of you have one of those little, BridgeLink coasters somewhere in your office? I have one that has literally sat on the corner of my desk my entire administration. And it has been there because I received one shortly after BridgeLink was put together. I didn't realize it hasn't even quite been 2 years, a year and 11 months. I think I first met with Mr. Cook and Brad and others on the team within a matter of months, certainly, and maybe weeks from the time it was put together. That was when I was a candidate. And at that time, it was actually before I was a candidate for governor. I was a candidate for some other thing. But what's interesting, some of you might have heard about that. It's a whole other story. But the bottom line is this. When I heard about it, I said, why would we not take advantage of straightening out what has the ability to be an extraordinary powerhouse, an extraordinary corridor of economic development, not only for Kentucky, but for Indiana as well. And it really made complete intuitive sense to me. And so while at that time I was in no position to do anything about it, I said if the day comes that I do have that ability, it will be a top priority. And so I'm grateful for the fact that we've been able to accelerate things forward because it is good for both of us, all of us on both sides of this river. It really is time we fill this hole in with something productive. I will say one other thing, too. I felt a little bad when Governor Pence got here. He had a tie on and a jacket and everything, and I felt a little bad. I brought the jacket just for him in case he had that on, but you have to remember, he's running for office again this year, so he's got to wear the tie. I'm not, so I get to wear jeans. So that's kind of how it works a little bit. He is a very dear friend of mine, and I say this with all sincerity. Another reason that this was easy for me to do and why it was something that I wanted to make a priority is I truly enjoy working with him. He has become a very dear friend. He is a man, for those of you that are Indianans, Hoosiers, I guess I kind of tried to turn you into something you weren't there. For those of you that are Hoosiers, you understand how fortunate you are to have a governor like him. He's a good man. He brings not only integrity and a tremendous work ethic and energy to the equation, but he's a man who has good wisdom. And I have picked his brain on a number of things since I became governor. I'm like the new guy. Certainly in the Republican ranks, I'm the newest governor. I've been governor for 6 months. And so there are things sometimes that I call and pick his brain on. And he has been so gracious. And it's delightful for me to be able to be here, to be part of doing this in a more formal, business-oriented and state-oriented purpose. Because so many of the things I've picked his brain on have had nothing specifically to do with things that would help Indiana. I'm delighted that this will. I really am. The only bone that I have to pick with him is that literally the other day I noticed in Louisville that there is a billboard that says AAA rating in Indiana, come on over, or something like that. And I thought, really? That's a little much. I mean, you don't need to rub it in. We don't exactly have AAA rated anything down here, but we will. We will. It's coming. I thought we were better friends than that, actually. I really did not. There's always a rivalry. There really is, and that's fair, when you're trying to compete for business. But really, billboards, come on. Anyhow, I'll forgive you for that, I think, although it's going to take a little while. But in all seriousness, thank you for being here. I'm grateful for this. Not the very least reason is that when else do you have a chance to talk about things like, appurtenant structures? You know, you don't get to use that word very often except when you're doing feasibility studies and environmental studies. This is an exciting time. This has been a long time in coming, as has been noted, decades in coming. But it is long overdue in some measure. The only good thing, and with this I'll close, that I've enjoyed about the sort of dogleg over the river in years past is that you have about 40 places to buy cheap gas. And because you're always in traffic, you have plenty of time to compare prices as you're driving through. So you can know right where you're heading without having to turn around and save 2 cents.